Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, second hour, kicking off right now on this Tuesday morning. It is a Toyson 4 to grind my gears at Tuesday. So, what is grinding your gears? Get it off your chest, hit us up, 715-830-1912. Or you can join in on the Section 105 chat on the video stream. We also have a I'm not saying, but I'm just saying Tuesday morning. So best ones we'll read up on the air. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. Home run derby last night. Your thoughts on that? If you want to give some feedback on it, you can. We got the MLB All-Star game tonight, and then a couple days off. Brewers will be back at it on Friday, taking on the Marlins. But speaking of the Brewers, you know, this is kind of maybe a little bit of a time to reflect, kind of take a look at, you know, this squad. I'm sure the Brewers are looking at it like, hey, what are some of the improvements we got to do? Do we have to make any moves? What are some of the primary targets? You know, that sort of thing. But when you do some self-scouting of this Brewers ball club, who is it that you think on this team, who is it that you think needs to have that, quote, maybe second half surge? Who is that player on the Brewers that maybe in the first half or before the All-Star break, maybe a little bit up and down, and you want to see them improve and really be a big-time player in the second half because, gosh darn it, the Brewers need him to be. Or maybe it was somebody that had a really good first half and they need to continue that. My pick is Christian Yelich. That's who I'm kind of rolling with. Because when you look at Christian Yelich, and this has been a topic in the last couple of weeks here, and I know Pat Murphy has talked about it, and you know, he said Christian is, you know, not happy with his play, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When you look at his numbers so far this season, no, they're not earth-shattering numbers by any stretch. I mean, Yelly this year is hitting .243, 6 home runs, 31 RBIs. He has a .706 OPS, which honestly was a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be. But, I mean, you look at what he did last year, all right? 29 home runs, 103 RBIs, 264 average. His OPS was a .795. Year before that, in 2024, only 11 home runs in 73 games played. He was off to that all-star start, right? I mean, right before that first half, I mean, dude was playing some really good baseball, had that 910 OPS, and then hurt. But last year, it was like, okay, it's the return of the power. He had 29 home runs, the most that he's had since 2019 when he had 44. He didn't hit over 20 since 2019. And maybe we kind of thought, okay, is this the version we're going to get from Yelich in 2026? Guy that's going to get you close to 30 home runs and maybe around 100 RBIs. And he's not on that pace. Yeah. Ain't going to happen. But could we get a surge in these final 66 games of the regular season where, okay, maybe he's our power guy back. That power's back. I got my doubts. But gosh darn, it would be nice if he found it. Boy, it would be nice if we kind of saw a version of Yelich that we saw last year for these final 66 games in this regular season, this push, and then into the postseason. You know, if we look at 2026 and 2024, since we're at the All-Star break, Yelich in 2024 played in 73 games. This year is 62. In 2024, when he was an All-Star, he had 85 hits. He had 59 hits compared to Yelly right now. Total bases in 2024, 136 compared to 92. I mean, you look at the home runs, 11 home runs, just 6. RBIs 42 compared to 31. He walked 40 times, just 28 this time. 58 strikeouts in 2024. He's already got 79. It's just not clicking. He had that 315 average. Yelich is such a, a lot of times we do the what ifs. Wednesdays are our what ifs. But gosh darn it, Yelich, when his career is done and seeing how it all finishes, how it's going to finish off, I feel like Christian Yelich is going to be another what if. What if he doesn't fracture that kneecap in 2019? Because it's hard not to look at that injury and look at how the rest of his career kind of transpired. When he came to the Brewers, he was not a big home run guy. I mean, the most home runs he had with the Marlins was in 2016 with 21. But he hit for average. I mean, 2013, his first year, 288, 284, 300, 298, 282. Those were his Marlins years. Then he comes into the Brewers in 2018 and I think surpasses all these expectations. I mean, MVP and MVP numbers again in 2019. But then that fractured kneecap, it's just, did that really derail? It's hard not to pinpoint that moment and say, what happened? If you're trying to say, what happened to Yelich? It's hard not to pinpoint that moment. And you factor in, okay, 2019, but then 2020 was the COVID year. So, 2020, he only played in 58 games, but he only hit 205, 12 home runs. Okay, maybe just give it a wash. 2020 was just a weird year for everybody, right? Well, in 2021, in 117 games, just 9 home runs. 2022, 154 games, just 14 home runs, 252 average. It's like the average was going down. The OPS was going down. The power was going down. 2014, it looked like, hey, well, in fact, 2023, okay, 19 home runs, but, okay, the average was coming back up, 278, 817 OPS. All right, maybe kind of getting there. And then 2024, the way it started off, it's like, oh, all-star, yep, maybe he's back. Hurt again. Back. 2025, though, it's like, okay, power's there, but the average is a little bit down. But hey, power's there. We got a guy, power. Over 100 RBIs, nearly 30 home run. It's such a what if. Like, would he have been more consistent from 2020 to now if it wasn't for that fractured kneecap? I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but regardless, if we could get a surge from Yelich in these final 66 games in the regular season, the second half, the final 40% of the season, whatever the heck you want to call it, man, that would be a huge boost. And I know that is a big what if in itself. I think the confidence is probably low for a lot of people, but gosh, be nice to have him in the middle of the order and be your power guy and just get some production from him. Like, I've got more confidence in Terang. I've got more confidence in Chirio. I've got more confidence in Contreras. But if you can add Yelich into that mixture, Bowers right now is your power guy. Hopefully, on the other hand, if we kind of ask the question, okay, who's the guy that maybe surprised the most in the first half that needs to continue this, that needs to, keep her going? I'd say Bowers. Bowers has almost given me a little bit of a reminder of like Jesus Aguilar in his all-star year for the Brewers. Just as a refresher of what Jesus Aguilar did that all-star year for the Brew Crew. Okay, 28 was it 2018? Yeah, 2018. He finished the season with 35 home runs, 274 average, and an 891 OPS. But remember what happened in the second half of 2018? It just kind of went. Was it the home run derby? but it kind of like, he was having such a great season, but then it just kind of slowed down. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, was it the home run derby? Participating in that home run derby kind of derail it. Did it screw it up? I don't know. But I hope that doesn't happen to a Bowers. Let's keep this career year going. Let's keep this power going. Let's keep this pop going. That would be the guy I'd say, okay, we need to keep this one rolling right along. You could throw in Garrett Mitchell into that too. I mean, Garrett Mitchell's playing really well here as of late. All right, we got to take a quick break, but plenty more to get to. All right, join in on the convo. Hit me up, 715-830-1912. Who is the Brewers player in this second half post-All-Star break that needs to have that surge? All right, Yelich's my pick. I feel like Yelich's going to be the pick for a lot of people. How about from a pitching side? Do you have a pitcher? I think pitching, maybe it just might be who's got to get healthy, got to stay healthy and refreshed and maybe not have so much fatigue. But who would be a pitcher? All right, let's take a quick break. Back with plenty more after these few words. Tomorrow it is 715 day. 7:15 matches up our area code. It's the official 715 day. And, well, we've got a celebration going on. 5 p.m. at the Brewing Project. There's food trucks. There's some music. There's some games. There's some stuff to win. So if you want to honor the 715, if you want to wrap the 715 and enjoy a little 715 day celebration, stop on by to the Brewing Project starting at 5 p.m. Shout out to all of these 715 day partners. That's Country Jam, Chippewa Valley Airport, Timber Technology, Walsworth, Anders Landscaping, Schwanke Services, Cinder Exteriors, Blue Hills Vineyard and Winery, Stanley Tire Center, WIMA, Wisconsin Milkwood Alliance, Quality Exteriors, Fortis Direct Primary Care, Tommy's Express Car Wash, the Pablo Center, Ashley for the Arts, Polar Tool and Supplies, L3 Landscaping, Bullseye Auto, the Mabel Tainer, Classic Construction, Country Jam, Chippewa Valley Airports, and Revival Records. Again, 715 day. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. at the Brewing Project. So, we got, a lot of picks for Yelich. A lot of picks for Christian Yelich, for the player that has to have that surge for the second half for the Brewers. Again, not surprised that that's where the direction went. Did have a Garrett Mitchell pick. I'm just kind of rolling through the list here because we have quite a few of these texts. Did have a Garrett Mitchell pick. Obviously, we had a Sal Frelick pick. And we had a Jackson Chourio pick, too. Who was, okay, since we're kind of on this one, who in the first pre-All-Star were you maybe a little disappointed in from a Brewers performance standpoint? Who was maybe the Brewers player that you were a little disappointed in? And maybe on the flip side, who was the Brewers player that you were like, hey, dang, I was actually impressed with him for their first half? I don't know a better way to say it, pre-All-Star break. I mean, Kyle Harrison I'd throw in there. I know he got a little bit banged up at the end. Is like, okay, I was high on him, but he did surpass my expectations. I would say maybe Bowers for sure. I mean, from an offense, 18 home runs. He's 888 OPS, 268 average, slugging a 508. From a position player standpoint, yeah, it's Jake Bowers. You got to throw him in there. Vaughn in some limited, 55 games, but you're talking about just 148 at bats. To be 311, hitting 311, 871 OPS is pretty darn good. I think he's not hitting for as much power as maybe the Brewers and a lot of us kind of thought he would. So, Sanchez got off to that great start to the season from a power perspective and has really slowed down, and I know limited opportunities for him. But, yeah, I think position player, the most surprising has been Bowers. Pitcher-wise, I'd throw in Kyle Harrison, but Shane Drone has he'd be right there with him I think disappointing first half. You could throw Yelich in there. I would throw my guy Sal in there. Just to be from an offensive standpoint, I'd like to see those numbers up. He's never going to hit for power. But what he did last year from an offensive perspective was just perfect. That's the Sal numbers I want to see from an offense. That's what I want to see. Last year when he was 288 and a 756 OPS, on base with 351. I want those numbers. He had 12 home runs last year too, which, okay, that dude had 12 dingers. All right. But that's the guy I want. So I'd throw Yelly and Sal as position players who have probably maybe disappointed me a little bit more in the first half, just from a production standpoint. Pitching, the easy one is probably Brandon Woodruff, but that's from an injury. You're just like, God darn it. Son of a gun. You feel bad. You feel awful for the guy. Do you put Chad Patrick in there as this? Because he, slated as a starter and then moved to the bullpen. This year he's got a 3.56 ERA. Last year, he finished with 3.53 ERA. So last year he appeared in 27 games. He started 23. This year he's already appeared in 29 games, has started just 6. Last year he pitched nearly 120 innings, though. So far this year, only 73, a little over 73 innings. His opponent's batting average is actually better this year. Opponents are hitting 230 against him. Last year was 248. I think I'd more so disappointing just the fact that Woodruff, again, dealing with injuries. Quinn Priester, you could throw him in there. We never got to see him. Just never recovered. Yeah, Zerpa you could throw in there too. There was a lot riding on Zerpa this year as maybe a late inning, high leverage type of guy coming out of the pen. And just never, injuries again kind of derailed that. So, pitching-wise, a little bit different. It's more from an injury standpoint, from a disappointment standpoint. So, but hey, who else do you got? Who else would you throw out there for your consideration? Okay. Curious to hear from you. Obviously, too, with this All-Star break, there's going to be a lot of speculation with who's going to be on the move. Who are the Brewers going to try to target? Will they try to target anybody? Will they try to get a starting pitcher ahead of the August 3rd deadline? Well, Kurt Hogg from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, he has a piece out talking about starting pitchers for the Brewers, or potential starting pitchers for the Brewers that they could maybe target. And as he noted, there's maybe some guys out there, but he kind of made the point that a lot that we've been talking about, a lot of these teams might not want to be sellers. You could throw some names out there, but even though these teams are not having great seasons, they're still not out of it. They're still not really out of it. So that's the issue here. If it is going to be a seller's market where there's not going to be a ton of people available, Brewers might have to pay more in terms of giving up more prospects. And I don't know if the Brewers want to do that. So this has been a topic going from last year. Would the Brewers try to work out, have they had chats about extending Jacob Misiorowski? Apparently not. That's according to the latest rumors and rumblings out there that the Brewers and Jacob Misiorowski have not had any conversations together about an extension. That's kind of the latest rumor out there, which I don't think is a big surprise. Maybe a little bit more of a surprise that the Brewers haven't approached Misiorowski. Maybe you try to, hey, maybe we can lock him up and keep him on a cheaper deal. I'm not surprised if Misiorowski doesn't want to. But maybe a little surprised that the Brewers haven't at least approached that subject with Miz and his representation. Or maybe they just know they ain't going to listen because they're going to ask for the moon. And rightfully so. Jacob Misiorowski and his camp should 100% ask for the moon. So, going back to Kurt Hogg's article about some of the Brewers, by the way, just some names thrown out there that have been maybe rumored for the Brewers or possible targets and such. Joe Ryan. Want Joe Ryan, as he said, so the Twins, who are just 2 games below 500. Trevor Rogers, Baltimore isn't very good, but they're only 2 back. Foster Griffin, their teams aren't selling now. Skubal, that's murky at best. Reed Detmers, Angels are the Angels, as he says. Michael Wacha is set to make $18 million next year. Seth Lugo is due $20 million. So, as he says, this creates a quandary. There will be some starters available, but the pool likely will shrivel up due to the market. The Brewers, under President of Baseball Operations Matt Arnold, have shown no proclivity to give up prospects of any real value. Yeah, not surprising, but... All right, we got to take a quick break, but we'll talk some more baseball, talk some more Brewers coming up after these few words. Summer puts your vehicle to the test, and AJM Automotive is ready to help you win that battle with 2 convenient Eau Claire locations. AJM Automotive can handle everything from oil changes and inspections to brakes, tires, and major repairs. Before your next road trip, make sure that your vehicle is ready for wherever summer takes you. Just trust the team at AJM Automotive. 2 locations, 1 commitment, and that is keeping you safely on the road all summer long. Since we are in the midst of this All-Star break with the All-Star game coming your way tonight, if we took a look at where Major League Baseball is at right now with these teams and standings, and a lot of things are still up in the air. And we know we got the trade deadline that's coming up in just a few weeks here, August 3rd. So, I mean, we're not that far off from it. You look at where a lot of these teams are at. I mean, starting in the American League, I think, from what are some interesting races to watch? I'm looking at the AL East and seeing between Tampa Bay and the Yankees, who's going to come out on top. Right now, you got Tampa Bay up 3 over the Yankees. And the Yankees, Friday, start a series against the Dodgers. So right out of the gate, you got a tough contest. But I think you look at that race. I think you look at who the heck is going to win the AL Central. Are the White Sox actually going to do this thing? Because a lot of times, in the last few years, we have seen teams go on these surges in the second half or have really collapsed. You look at the AL Central last year between the Guardians and the Tigers, right? Tigers looked like one of baseball's best last year and then collapsed. Guardians made that run. So this year in the AL Central, can the Tigers flip that script after a poor first half? They're 6.5 back from the White Sox for first place. Can they make that surge? Can the White Sox, not the White Sox, can they continue this? Can they make the postseason? Or are the Guardians going to do what they've done the last couple of years and kind of go on that run and clinch the AL Central? Then you got the 20s. Minnesota Twins, they're only 3 back. They're 1 game under 500. Who the heck is going to win the AL Central? I think right now, Kansas City's pretty disappointing. I think a lot of people expected more from KC this year, and they haven't lived up to that play. But gosh darn it, 4 teams. I think there's still 4 teams that are in this thing that when the season's over with, when we're looking at where these are at, would you be surprised if either the White Sox, the Guardians, the Twins, or the Tigers end up winning the AL Central? No. Given what we've seen so far and where they're at in the standings. Minnesota's probably surprising a lot. You look at the AL Central, there's like 2 teams in there that are probably 2 of the biggest surprises in a good way this year. The White Sox and with the Twins for how much they sold off a lot of players, the fact that they're just 3 games out and 1 game below 500, I think, all right, here you go. AL West, maybe kind of the same thing. Athletics kind of falling down here as of late. They went in the All-Star break with a 9-game losing streak, so they've really fallen off here. But they were, first couple months of the season, like, hey, okay, the youth movement, really playing at a high level. Seattle's maybe not doing as well as anticipated. This AL West division, this is actually maybe uglier than the AL Central because you've got 1 team that's above 500. Barely. And that's the Rangers, who are 49 and 47. Can the Mariners flip the switch, though, and get this thing going? They're only 1.5 back. Houston's 3 back. Athletics are 8. But you look at this AL West, usually there's only one division, like one bad division, where you say, okay, the only way that team is going to go in is if they win the division. But, man, AL Central and AL West, it's ugly. That's where you look at this AL wildcard race is going to be something to watch. Because right now it's the Yankees, then it's the Guardians, and then it's the Mariners. But the Twins are right there, tied. Same record as the Mariners. Boston's only a half game back now. Boston, not that long ago, was talked about, hey, could they be trading players? Selling off. They're only a half game back. Houston's 1.5 back. Baltimore, for crying out loud, is 2 back. Toronto, 2.5 back. World Series reps of the AL last year. Detroit's 3.5 back. The Athletics are only 6.5 back. This AL wildcard race, even though it's filled with a bunch of bad teams record-wise, is actually going to be kind of fun to watch for this second half, post-All-Star break, to see how it all shakes out. I want to know if we are going to have a team, maybe 2. I don't know if it'll be 2, but maybe at least 1. Are we going to have a team that's going to reach the postseason in the American League that hovering around 500, dare I say below 500? Because you got 2 teams right now who are tied for that final spot, and they're 1 game under 500. National League, it's a little bit of a separation here, more so than the American League, not by much. But you got your 3 teams leading their divisions that have led their divisions for the most part of the season. It's still the Dodgers, it's still the Brewers, it's still the Braves. We've talked plenty about the Brewers. Can they continue this run? Watching them in the second half, are they going to hit 100 wins? Are they going to set another franchise mark? They broke it last year with 97. Are they going to hit triple digits? Dodgers, they're doing what the Dodgers do. Can the Braves hold on to the lead in the NL East after their great start to the season and the poor start by Philly? Philly's coming along now. They're only 2 back. Heck, the Marlins, they're 4 back. How that NL East division race now is all of a sudden a really fun division to watch in this second half. NL Central, it's kind of separated a little bit. Cardinals are 8.5 back, but I'm not discrediting the Cardinals. Brewers, Cubs, it's definitely going to be fun to watch. Probably a little anxious if you're a Brewers fan or a Cubs fan. Probably some nerve-wracking, stress-filled moments. And then you look at the NL West, it's like, okay, who's going to come out of that maybe between the Diamondbacks and the Padres for that wild card spot? Will there be a team from the NL West outside of the Dodgers that make the postseason? Because right now, There isn't. When you look at the wild cards, it's the Cubs, it's the Phillies, and it's the Marlins. Cardinals are next with 1 game back. Then it's the Pirates, who are 2 back. The Diamondbacks then are 2.5 back. Padres 3.5. Can the Pirates make a push to get to the postseason? You know Major League Baseball would love to see Paul Skeens in the postseason, even if it's just for a wild card. But you look at how well Miami is doing and surprising a lot of people this year too. So I'm kind of looking at, from the National League side of things, the NL East division race. Brewers, Cubs, obviously, but then the NL wild card, kind of the back end of that. Maybe that final spot. Can the Marlins hold on to it? Because right now I feel the NL East is either going to be the Braves or the Phillies. Yes, I'm overlooking the Marlins. I get it. But whoever doesn't win the NL East between those two is probably going to be a wild card team. Same for the NL Central. So you're maybe looking at that final wild card spot in the NL East. Can it be the Marlins? Can the Pirates squeak in? What about the Cardinals? Will Padres or Diamondbacks go on a run? Heck, the Nationals are only 4 back, for crying out loud. So with these final, 40% of the season, there's a lot of interesting races, which does affect the trading deadline coming up here in a couple weeks. There may not, right now, I don't think there's a whole lot of sellers. This might go right up to that deadline. And some of these edge teams, Red Sox, Twins, Baltimore, Nationals, Diamondbacks, Padres, whoever, they're going to have tough decisions to make if they're right at that line of making the postseason. Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to be, open for business? All right, let's take a quick break as we wrap up the second hour and head into halftime. We'll be right back after these few words. Coming up this Thursday, July 16th, it's a Tailgate Thursday at the Eau Claire Express game. We're going to be hanging out by the Hank Aaron statue around 4 p.m., handing out some samples of the Express's beer, Legends beer. We'll have some games, some prizes. The card collecting club's going to be there handing out some free cards to the kids. So bring the kiddos, get your game ticket, hang out at the ballpark Thursday nights, July 16th, when the Express take on the Minnesota Mud Puppies. They take on the Mud Puppies tonight, off day tomorrow, and then back at it on Thursday. So again, we're going to start at around 4 p.m. for our next Tailgate Thursday, pregame to 40 party, all right? Hang out with us. Get a game ticket and hang out with us for a little tailgating fun, again, right next to the Hank Aaron statue. We'll have some contests, some games, and some swag and some prizes to hand out to all of you. So looking forward to that. It'll be hot. Cool down with some cool beverages, right? Yeah. All right, looking forward to it. Okay, coming up in, let's say, about 25 minutes or so. We'll chat with Mr. R.J. Cardinal, switch gears here a little bit, and get to some Badger chat with him. I do want to talk a little bit about some Bucks here just past the 8 o'clock hour, maybe just a little bit in there. But we'll get back to some more baseball talk, some Brewers. I know in the first hour we talked a lot about the Packers. We continued our countdown to camp series. And we talked a little bit. The big topic of conversation in the last 24 hours was the top 10 list from ESPN for their quarterbacks, and Jordan Love not on there. Caleb Williams was on there. So it has sparked a debate. It has sparked a good conversation. Maybe not respectful for some people, but I want to know, just kind of an informal poll. Do you think Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback? Give me your top 10 list. Give me your top 10 list. Text it on over so I can read it off. Okay, 715-830-1912. Or again, hang out on the Section 105 chat on our video stream and send us your picks over there. And if you don't think he's a top 10, kind of tell me why. Or maybe because in the first hour I gave you my theories on why maybe he's not viewed as a top 10 quarterback for some. What's your theory? What's your theory on maybe why he's not? I'm curious to get what you think. So, but we'll hit that up coming up a little bit later on here too. It is a Toys and Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday, so maybe that's what's grinding your gears. What's grinding your gears? Get it off your chests. Feel better. Okay? What's grinding your gears? Also, it's I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. So like mine was, I'm not saying Jordan Love's a top 5 quarterback, but I'm just saying he has a legit case to be top 10. I'm not saying Jordan Love is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm not saying that he's going to be an all-time great, but I'm just saying I think the hill for him to climb, because the bar of quarterback play for Green Bay over the last 30-some years has just been so high, it just makes it harder for Love. Because of, he's not just replacing Aaron Rodgers, he's replacing Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers. It's like, dang, there's no way Green Bay's going to do 3 in a row. I'll have to read this. So Jeff Passan just posted this. News, Major League Baseball has support from owners to allow big leaguers to participate in the Olympics for the first time. But disagreements with the Major League Baseball Players Association have jeopardized the players' involvement in the 2028 LA Games. Well, I'll have to... Well, what does he have to say about that? Tickets, room mandate. Okay. Emails and documents obtained by ESPN illustrate the conflict between the parties that has spanned months and left officials at LA 28 seeking a prompt resolution. MLB likewise has pushed for clarity, sources say, as it plans to shut down the sport for 11 days to accommodate an all-star game on the West Coast that should precede the 16 tournament scheduled to be played at Dodger Stadium. Huh. Okay. Major League Baseball has gathered support from owners to allow big league players to participate in the Olympics for the first time, but disagreements with the Players Association over hotel rooms, tickets, and mandatory participation agreements have complicated their involvement. Potential complications have risen during negotiations, which involve a complex web of issues. Okay, man. Yep. All right. I'll have to maybe kind of... MLB's aim at mandating participation, sources said, is to ensure a showcase on the world stage includes game's biggest stars from Shohei to Aaron Judge. Beyond balking at compulsory involvement for all players, the Players Association strongly opposes a deal that would allow placement on the restricted list, as well as a Commissioner Rob Manfred's ability in the agreement to discipline for just cause with a fine or unpaid suspension. Okay. A lot to dive into this thing, so I'll try to do that during the break. But just another thorn, another thing, whatever you want to call it, disagreement between the Players Association and Major League Baseball. These two sides, I swear, can they agree on anything? I feel like these two just, of all the other leagues, pro sports leagues, I feel like these two just can never. They always drag this out. They always kind of drag their issues out to the detriment of the fans. It's frustrating. That's what grinds my gears. All right, that's going to be my new grind my gears. Is Major League Baseball and the Players Association. Their issues with each other, I get it. It's a negotiation. I understand it. They're both trying to do what's best for both sides, but it comes at the cost of fans and baseball fans. No baseball, no baseball's best playing in the Olympics? Come on. It's a kid's game. It's a fan's game. Frustrating. All right, shot clock's going to cut me off. So we're approaching halftime here. I'll chat a little Bucks coming up to open up the 8 o'clock hour, and then we're going to go into RJ Cardinal and switch gears and talk some Badgers. We'll be back after these quick news updates.